It's new blood versus the old guard. It's a tale as old as time. Josh Emmett, 1-4 in his last 5. He's looking to make some type of a redemption tour at the crisp age of 41 against the 24-year-old phenom Kevin Vallejos. The man is a danger, man. He's really one that you don't want to mess with right now. He's surging, coming off of a surgical knockout against Giga Chikadze, often considered one of the best strikers in the featherweight division. This is going to determine who gets to move forward versus who is gatekeeping the division. We got a good one, folks. Breaking it down with me, as always, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native, AJ. The new blood and the old guard is something that we can take into consideration with current events right now, because that old blood, remember that guy, the Predator, Francis Ngannou? Remember him? PFL phenom? No. UFC phenom? No, actually, neither. AJ, Ngannou, he's out of the PFL. The man had one fight against Hanan Fajeda in the PFL, did some boxing stuff, and now return to the UFC? No, instead, he's going to be fighting Felipe Lins for Jake Paul's MVP promotions right here, brother. What do we make of that old blood Francis Ngannou stepping into that new blood promotion, MVP? First, it was Gina and Ronda. Now it's this. Talk to me, brother.
Personally, Derick, I'm happy for Francis Ngannou, brother. This you got to get the bag, especially when you don't have a good rapport, I guess I should say, with the UFC, who is the dominant fighting company in the entire world. So yeah, if Jake Paul's gonna pay you some money, Francis Ngannou, I'm happy for it. But as far as if this is just another fighter, it's sad to see. It's rough to see. I mean, he had a great run in the UFC, a run in the PFL, but it really does showcase that everything outside the UFC is really another tier down.
Yeah, I'd agree, except when we're talking about the bag that you're about to get, because the argument that they're trying to give is one that I can actually understand. And Ngannou says, hey, the UFC, all they throw in your face is legacy this, legacy that. You're tarnishing your legacy. You're going to throw it away. He's like, well, listen, bro, I can't go to the store and pay for my groceries with legacy, right? But I could pay it with that bag. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. And it strikes me on like a freelance perspective, because, and not to get too in the weeds, but the freelancers, right? You got a gig, you're trying to, do some work. Hey, I'm trying to get some pay. This is the payment that I'm requesting. And they say, hey, I don't really have a budget, but this is going to get you massive exposure. And again, I can't pay my bills with exposure, right? So I can understand the argument. The only thing that I'm saying is like, listen, PFL fumbled the bag, bro. I don't even need to go into the article, because the PFL could have booked Ngannou versus Lins they were literally both PFL contract fighters. Now they're going to box. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a shenanigan. And similar to Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey, it's going to be something that people are going to be watching, but honestly should probably have no attention on, in my opinion, here. So don't want to be too dramatic, brother, but there we go. Don't want to be too dramatic here, AJ, but just give me some thoughts overall on this one, some closing statements on the legacy, if you will, of Francis Ngannou. The fans might have got robbed from some performances, but as long as he gets the bag, I mean, there's nothing to argue, right?
That's what I'm thinking, Derick. As far as the fighter, Francis Ngannou, nothing, no shame here, no hate here, man. Chase that bag all day long. As far as the legacy, we did get robbed of a lot of good fights. Personally, as a hardcore fan, I'm always gonna remember the uppercut from hell on Osterreem, or I should say, what's his real name besides
Ubereem.
Yeah, thank you, Derick.
That's Alistair Overeem. Yeah.
Ubereem. Either way, man, this is I don't want to say a mar on a great fighter's legacy, but it is sad to see it cut short in the massive eyes of the fans that he could have been watching.
Yep, couldn't have said it better. My big thing here, and we're not going to linger on it, but UFC versus MVP. It seems like the battle is heating up, and honestly, there should be no competition whatsoever. So I just think it's funny. All right, with that being said, folks, let's go ahead and jump into today's program. We're going to do a quick recap of UFC 326. Remember, Blessed Express versus Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira. Then we're going to jump into UFC Vegas 114, Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. 5 fights. And you got the better of us this week right now, my friend. 3-2. I went the dreaded 2-3 right here. But I want to talk about some common misses. And the number one common miss, which in hindsight, after rewatching last week's episode and the breakdown that we did, I'm almost like, how did we walk out of there saying like, yeah, Holloway, yeah, that was the play. After like breaking down all the ways that Oliveira could take advantage of the matchup, and literally he did most of the things that we talked about, except the wrestling heavy focus. So I just want your thoughts on the main event.
Yeah, Derick, I mean, Monday morning quarterbacking is always easier to say, how do we not see this? But if history has taught me anything, Charles Oliveira never sticks to a game plan. except when he proves us wrong and he beats the Blessed Express by out grappling. And this was an absolute clear dominant finish from Chucky Olives on this one. Not the fight everybody wanted to see for the BMF title. In fact, I think there's a lot of people who say that's not a BMF title anymore if you're just going to grapple somebody for 15 or 25 minutes. But still a great, impressive performance for Charles Oliveira. And the one takeaway I'm taking from it is my boy sticking to the game plan now. This might be a new and improved, version 5.0 Chucky Olives we're seeing? What do you think, Derick?
I think get rid of that damn BMF, whatever, NFL. Get rid of it. It's a gimmick. It doesn't make sense. The belt that you got behind you, brother, is more real than that belt, because guess what? We actually got to go through a tested season. We got to be right on our picks. We got to be nice with it in order to go ahead and claim that thing. The BMF, you did not adhere to the rules of what a BMF title fight stands for, and it doesn't matter anyways. It's just a way to sell tickets, in my opinion. So I'm not mad at Oliveira, because I don't think he's thinking about BMF belt. I think he's just thinking about a win over Holloway, and that was as dominant as it gets right there. Holloway didn't have the stopping power. I hate to repeat myself, but he did not have the stopping power to keep Oliveira off of him, and that's literally all it was. Again, Topuria was able to flatline him before he got too close. Chandler was at least able to fight back power versus power, but Holloway, this takes us back to his original lightweight fight against Dustin Poirier when he moved up, when he was the champion, and we're like, you're just not big enough for the division. Against the power punchers, it seems like might not be big enough for the division. So yeah, big miss on both of our ends right there, brother. So sorry to y'all, but shout out to Du Bronx for that one. All right, just rapid fire for the rest of these ones. Vallejos, man, it was a close one, but he got the better of RDR. Anti-grappling was the key, and I was afraid he might do it, but he did it. RDR then announces he's actually moving up to light heavyweight. So Vallejos vanished my man from the division, bro. Props to him. What do you think?
I think it's a great move for RDR to move up. I mean, I do think a lot of what we've seen him struggle with is coming from the previous weight cut, right? Having to make that weight, get back in, and then not having the energy to actually get in there and do it. And I'm giving a lot of credit to the striking, and like you said, Derick, anti-wrestling, cage grabs aside and all, for Kyle Vallejos. He put on a performance. He did what he needed to do. He got the job done.
Yeah, that was fair right there. All right, moving on along. Rosas, he drowned Font. It was a close fight, and if Rosas keeps fighting like that, the higher the steps up are going to go. I don't think he's going to fare well with those styles of performances. But could you imagine if he had some nice kickboxing on him? These dudes probably would not be able to touch this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the one note I had, Derick. He's solid until that striking does not be able to hold a candle to somebody else's, and they shut your takedowns. If he had some kickboxing, he'd be the next star for sure.
I'm saying, and he still has the opportunity to do it, man. He's 21 years old or whatever. He's young, but yeah, Rob Font couldn't get it done. Drew Dober does get it done, though, and he knocked out Michael Johnson, which is sad to see because nobody wants to see it. But the line movement, I don't know if you heard about that. The line movement was crazy. I was looking at Dober when he was even money, being like, this doesn't make sense. I'm glad I was affirmed by the odds makers, kind of switching things up. But yeah, I mean, no chin. Don't get me wrong. All love to Michael Johnson, but you get cracked repeatedly against a guy who throws volume and hard shots and has a chin. Well, we saw what happened right there. Give me your thoughts on Bruno Ferreira versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. This probably is how the first fight should have played out. Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely. What I took away from it, Derick, and the big difference between this fight and the first fight, a patient, calculated RoboCop is basically unbeatable, brother. He is not rushing in. He's not going crazy on it. Sitting back, saw the move, set up a little trap, and that was a clinical display of power or precision over power. And he had the time to go along with it. Bro, that was bad. That was dangerous.
Nasty work. It was literally like the first shot that he landed with too, which was like beautiful. You know what I mean? True one hitter quitter status right there. But all right, bro, props. We hit on those ones just so the people can see. Let me actually go ahead and pop it up one more time. Rosas Jr. by submissions or points, -175, easy money. Rodriguez Ferreira under 1.5 cleared, -115, easy money. So both slightly chalk. Mine was closer to even, but regardless, some money was made. A good bounce back for it. Not even bounce back because we hit on last week too, the week before that. So let's rock. You know what time it is, AJ. You got some sleepers for us, brother. UFC Vegas 114. We are shifting into the Meta Apex. You know that's what it's called now, right, AJ? The Meta Apex.
Really? Meta
body. Yeah.
No.
Zuckerberg got his rights. You know how he loves him some good MMA, or maybe just the
UFC's
UFC.
After the bag.
That's right. Small cage means for some big power puncher advantages right here. Talk to the people, brother. What do you got for your sleeper?
For some fight night. you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
This week, folks, we're going Bia Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon in the women's 135-pound division, folks. And if you've been following us for any period of time, you know we're a huge proponent of women's mixed martial arts. And to find them on the sleeper section, you know there's some serious talent right here. I'm going to start off with Rendon because we all know her. She's been around in the UFC for a while, calculated, consistent, powerful, always down for a brawl, and makes every fight a grind fest, right? She's dragging into those deep waters. Where Mesquita, this is who the sleeper's made for, folks. Brand new into the UFC. I think she has one fight in the UFC and already making splashes, right? Never gone to a decision. 100% finish rate. Patient, powerful, and has a lot of raw talent coming from Mesquita, man. This is everything you want in a prospect right here, going up against the gatekeeper. And so, especially like an undefeated prospect to be a Mesquita as well. And this is going to be her toughest competition yet, right? The prospect has never even sniffed a third round, never even got close to a third round. Well, Rendon drags every single opponent she has into those decision fights. She's hard to put away. She's very, very talented. And this is a very interesting matchup of the finisher, who has basically never had any real stiff competition, versus Montserrat Rendon, who has fought some of the toughest competition out there and gone to decisions with him. So someone's losing their streak. It promises to be a high-level match. Make sure you tune into this one. Derek, what do you think?
I think that's going to be a banger right here, man. I'm a big fan of the Lady Goat, Bia Mesquita right here. As long as she can get this fight to the ground, she's finishing most of these people. The only thing, Rendon, she might have an answer. Maybe not a full answer, but you got the opportunity to do a equal playing field and see what those hands look like. And that's what I'm curious, right? Let's bring these, like Jacqueline Amarim, you know what I mean? Let's see what those hands look like. We know you can grapple, right? But this should be a fun one right here. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and rattle off a couple of stats that you need to know about this fight card before we jump into it. I do want to double down. This main event is literally the definition of old guard versus new blood, because it's a 17-year age difference between Emmett and Vallejos, 41 versus 24. And we saw how Rob Font versus Raul Rosas went last week. So the old dog, unfortunately, does not always get it done. Fighting at the meta apex, good old Zuckerberg apex. This means that we were in the small cage, 25-foot octagon this go. So massive factor for a fighter in the headliner like Josh Emmett, who's looking to land some bombs. But guess what? Vallejos is right there in that same corner. So we'll see. This is really the big note that I want everyone to keep an eye on. We got some history in the making. The Savage, Gillian Robertson, she enters the bout right now, already tied for the most submissions in women's UFC history with 7. She might actually be the record holder, but I think like that's the number right there, that number 1 spot. So with a win in a submission in this fight, she would literally make history in being the number 1 leading submission leader in the women's UFC division history, but also probably jumping into not only legitimate, like top tier, top 5, top 3 status, but probably next for a title shot if everything goes right. And the last part, you remember that guy, Stephen Asplund, the dude who knocks a grown man out and then grabs his joints and gives him a twist? You remember that dude, right? We probably got to blur that out. That might have been too X-rated right there for those who are watching. But he's coming in short notice against Vitor Petrino in the heavyweight division. So I want to just point that out there because, AJ, this is heavyweight, brother. And Asplund is 170 strikes, significant strikes. Like, he put up volume records. Petrino got a couple of issues that we'll talk about here in just a bit, but when it comes to heavyweight, you don't want this dude to come in spoiling when you just said, all right, I'll move to heavyweight, I'll take over because I used to be the light heavyweight, and you got this young dude with some momentum on short notice going to steal your shine. I don't know, but those are your stats you need to know. AJ, what are your thoughts?
Man, coming up off the couch, Stephen Asplund. Obviously, he's not coming up off of the couch, but coming in short notice. Man, there's always chance for a big spoil factor right here. Yep. Vitor Petrino moving up. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle everything. But the whole fight card, folks, heat on it, money to be made. I'm excited for this one this week.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Stephen Asplund, 7-1-0 versus Vitor Petrino. All right, AJ, I got some news right here that we need to talk about straight off of the bat because this impacts the entire card. I don't know if you knew this, and if you didn't, I feel bad for you because your pick is already locked in. I won't let you take it back. I'm just joking. I might, but Vitor Petrino, he announced on Instagram that he can't use his right hand. He has a right hand injury. Yeah, open. And he's like, yep, well, what are you going to do? I'm probably going to take this dude down and submit him. You know what I mean? Because I am a high-level grappler. And that dude, Asplund, I think he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? So this dude got hands for days, not Petrino. I mean, Petrino does too. But Asplund, hands for days, long striker, beautiful when he lets off the combos. But as we say week after week, none of that matters if you're on your back. So Give me your impression to this breaking news right here. I hope you were aware.
I was aware, Derick. Unfortunately, I saw it after I submitted my pick, but your boy's staying locked in with what his gut was telling him. Hey, man, Vitor Petrino, he's fast. He's smooth. He's able to get things going. And if he can get this fight to the ground, that is where he's going to survive this one. And hey, you've ever heard of a red herring, folks? You could be saying, oh, yeah, no, this hand doesn't work until it lays you out. And then there's something else. So I always take it with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, I am worried about that right hand going into this. But I do think Petrino has a speed advantage he's going to be able to utilize in this fight.
Oh, man, I wasn't expecting you to give me that last part, because that's the part where I might disagree a little bit. I think Asplund is plenty fast, especially for a heavyweight. Super fast hands right here. Petrino being a light heavyweight moving up. Yeah, there might be something onto that. It's hard when you don't see them in the cage together. You're just watching like separate, film studies or whatnot. But something to think about. Now, one other note that I want to make before we jump into the real breakdown: Thomas Peterson, the dude that Petrino just knocked out. He trains with Steven Asplund, right? So guess what? Now you got the blueprint. You could say, this is where I jacked up at, bro. I hope you have a better shot right here. Again, at short notice, who knows how much preparation they have. But let's be real, man. I think a lot of us, I don't want to speak for you, AJ. I'll speak for myself. I penciled in Vitor Petrino as a definite potential light heavyweight title contender, like in the future, before he rattled off these losses to Anthony Smith and then to Dustin Jacoby. Then it was like, okay, well, I guess not. What does he do? He says, all right, well, I'll just move up to heavyweight and I'll be the heavyweight champ instead. Like, it's all good. Either way, I do think that there's a high ceiling for this guy. What do you think?
Yeah, Derick, I think there's a high ceiling. Unfortunately, fortunately for Vitor Petrino, there's no Anthony Smith in the heavyweight division, right? Because that's where I think he's going to run into trouble with those veterans, with those high level people. The good thing is, in heavyweight, there's really not that many that are that well versed as Anthony Smith. So he has a very high ceiling, but I still think it's in that top 5. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on gold yet, Derick.
I was more for light heavyweight, but at heavyweight, who knows, right? You run into a Curtis Blades, you might definitely run into some trouble. Like, who knows? But I think that the story right here is that the guy Petrino was training for was Kennedy Nchekwu. And I always butcher his name, so apologies. But that's, a long, rangy dude, kind of Asplund-esque, but like not really. So it's not really the same. But now you got a guy who's going to be in your face the entire fight. And what have we found out about Vitor Petrino? It's that he swings big, but AJ, he also misses big, right? So a couple of reasons that I think Vitor Petrino is a guy that you would want to bet on is because he has that one-shot knockout power, and I don't think Asplund brings that back. But when you lose the right hand, which is where you got both of your last couple of big shots, big knockdowns was from that right hand. I think it's the right uppercut, left hook combination is the big one that Petrino likes to use. When that right hand gets taken away, it's grapple or bust in this, or is this dude relying on a left hand?
It's hard to say with how much dog Petrino has in him, because if he's going in there and throwing that right hand anyway, it's more so of a distraction than it's going to be the one that puts Asplund to sleep. I really do, Derick. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like the footwork of Vitor Petrino is where he's going to have the best advantage, be able to get on the inside. And everything I've seen from Asplund, he does have the power. He does have the speed in the hands, but he kind of plods around when he's moving, and he can get caught overextending. That's where I'm hoping Petrino's going to exploit the holes.
Yeah. Asplund looks great against heavyweights, but this is like a light heavyweight, hybrid heavyweight. So it's a little bit of a different game. So I absolutely agree with you. Vitor Petrino, stick and move. I think he has to get the takedown, bro. I think that it's just like a clear path. Even the Sean Sharaf fight, the last one for Asplund, they're like, why is he not trying to wrestle? Like, why are you just boxing with this dude? It doesn't make sense. So I think Petrino will be smart enough to do it. But then again, Petrino on the feet can set up his takedowns with his timing and his counters, right? I just don't know if those counter windows are going to be open when you got a guy in your face constantly. The only thing about Asplund, the other part too, is as good as he looked in that big fight that got him on the map in the UFC, he got hit a lot in that fight. And I don't know if he could take those hits against Petrino right there. So 2 fights deep, I guess, if you count his Contender Series fight. And now you're fighting a legit ranked dude in Petrino who has faced some high-level competition. That's a little concerning. Striking accuracy isn't great for Asplund, and for Petrino, you just remember, right? You got a hurt hand and you prepped for a completely different guy. So this puts him on a level playing field right here. Give me the one X factor that determines the matchup.
Ooh, Derick, backward steps. That's what I think is really going to be able to win or determine everything. Whoever's taking those backward steps, whoever has control of this fight, it will be winning it in the judges' eyes. Because both of them can get a finish, but I think this one's going to come down to a little bit more technique.
Okay, understood. And then just to kind of cap this one off right here before we give our picks, total 1.5 rounds. I really like the over, man. Minus 155 is where I have it tracked at, plus 130 for the comeback. What are your thoughts?
I like the over. I'd like the over on this all day long.
Yeah, I think either fighter, honestly, it's going to be beneficial for that over to hit. So, especially at minus 155, I think there's a ton of value right there. But all right, man, picks right here is going to be, boom, Asplund for me, Petrino for you, obviously, folks, if you couldn't tell already right there. I'm going live dog pick right here. That's why you don't see it as a bet for me. I can't bet on a dude with a hurt hand going into the fight, and they know it. Like, yeah, you're right, AJ. What'd you call it? Canary in the coal. What'd you call it? Red hair. Yeah, there we go. It might be that. You're right. It could, but it could not at the same time. So, last thoughts here on Petrino for the big. Why you picked him and not betting him?
Yeah, a little clarity. I'm hoping it's not a red herring. Or I'm hoping it is red herring. Something's telling me it's not, but really for Petrino, man, I have this one as a pick just because of the price he's at, minus 240. Yeah. You got a hurt hand going up against a guy who you should dog walk if everything was correct, coming off a short notice fight like this. There's a lot to go into it that makes me unsure of what's actually going on. I'm keeping this as a pick.
Let's keep it pushing. Now we're going to move on to some, I wouldn't say newcomer is the right term to use, but Harry Hardwick has been around for a long time in the Cage Warrior scene, in the European MMA scene. Brutal UFC debut on short notice, up a weight class, get your legs absolutely destroyed by Kawe Fernandez, and you leave in a wheelchair, brother. Not what I imagine his debut what he dreamt of, or really what many fans did. But now you get Marwan Rahiki. Dude looked like a stud in the Dana White Contender Series. That 1-2 spinning attacks, dangerous, athletic. But then again, you got a volume puncher, a volume boxer, and a good grappler with the BJJ brown belt in Harry Hardwick, who's looking not only to redeem himself, but he gets to fight at his natural weight class. So what's the look for this one?
Yeah, Derick. I mean, this is an interesting one, especially if you look at the props, because everybody's thinking Hardwick is washed, right? He went up in his UFC debut, up a weight class, like you said, and got brutalized. I don't think that's going to be the case going in this one. I do think Hardwick has a lot to offer, especially in the featherweight division. Now he gets to really show his skills. But, man, it's going up against freaky Rahiki. This boy is dangerous, folks. Composed, technical striking and range, slick head movement, likes to explode into his combos. Like, it's everything you want out of a striker, and he has the confidence to go along with it. Let me tell you, Hardwick is a very dangerous person in there, very durable, even though we saw what happened in his last fight.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, the odds, though, got steamed on this one, dude. Rahiki was like minus 200 to open, currently minus 265, minus 275. So either someone knows something somewhere that we don't, or you're right, people are just like really turned off by the prospect of Harry Hardwick, who has not lost a ton. First like TKO finish of his entire career was last fight. He's been subbed once and he's lost 2 other decisions. So they're making it seem like he's some scrub, and I don't really understand why. But then I also get it if that's your first appearance of the man ever, and you saw that, I'd be worried too. Now Rahiki, let's not forget, he almost got finished himself against a dude he was supposed to dog walk in the Dana White Contender Series. Good news, he was able to recover, really actually impressive recovery, and went on to finish that fight. But I think that the dude that he was fighting just he blew his gas tank chasing the finish right there. So problematic, something to think about. Let's talk about the matchup right here, man. Okay, you got an orthodox fighter in Rahiki versus a switch fighter in Harry Hardwick, and a lot of people are saying, well, the game plan has already written itself. You know who's a good kicker? Rahiki. Can Hardwick check a kick? I don't know. Let's find out. What offensive approach do you think Rahiki is going to try to take in this one?
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't start off just spamming leg kicks, they don't do any film study. That's the first thing I would jump in there and do. Throw a hard leg kick, see what he does, see how he reacts to it, and then go to plan B, C, D, whatever you need to after that. I do expect Rahiki to be the one in the middle, the one controlling the center of the octagon, pushing the pace, and getting the better of the exchanges. Like I said, if he's not throwing leg kicks, expect those combos to be working, because our boy has very slick hands, very slick head movement, and good defense. But on the other side, man, Harry Hardwick, he has a very good takedown defense. The way he goes about fighting, right? He knows your strengths, he knows his weaknesses, and he's able to exploit exploit it the opposite way, right? He's able to find the ways to get things to work. And if you watch any of his fights outside the UFC, the boy is fast, he's powerful, he hits hard. And if he's able to cut some corners, find the angles that when Rahiki is trying to explode into those counters and counter the counter, Harry Hardwick could have a good shot looking right here.
You know why they call Harry Hardwick Houdini?
Huh.
It's because he survives bad spots, dude. You know, not the last one, obviously, but the man knows how to get himself out of a jam. And that's what really interests me here, because I think Rahiki's going to try to put it on him early, and Hardwick can slow down a fight and bring it to more his pace of where he likes it, which is kind of that, like what we talked about earlier, Stephen Asplund, right? It's that volume style. It's that, let me just overwhelm you. So by the midpoint of the fight, man, I'm starting to take over, right? Like I'm building. I'm a builder, if you will, right? I think that's the style for Hardwick. So I've seen him grapple, man, and that's where I'm curious the most. I think he has to get this fight to the mat. I think that standing purely at range against Freaky Rahiki, I don't know what the prop is for the TKO. Do you have the TKO prop on this one?
I can pull it up.
And while you're pulling it up, let me just talk to you about why I'm also worried about this, because that pressure style of Harry Hardwick can lead himself directly into the counter shot of Rahiki, that spinning shot or that knee elbow off of the break or whatever. Like Rahiki he did a really good job as just being an athlete, but the only thing is that athletic style also comes with that Izzy style. So when you're getting pressured and your back is against the cage and you're trying to slip punches, you're not hands up, slipping. You're extended back. And for those who aren't watching, that's Dusko Todorovic chin in the air style before my man came a real D1 wrestler. You know what I mean? Something to think about. AJ, what's that TKO stat?
TKO for Freaky Rahiki plus 150, plus money on it.
Okay. So I think that goes to show that's a little respect on Hardwick that, like I said, man, can survive a bad spot. I don't think that you got to worry about glass cannon type situations right here, but that's the read that I have, man. You got a dude in Hardwick who I don't think is nearly as fast or as powerful as Rahiki. I just think he has good timing, and he works the body, works the head, volume plays, and can grapple, and he needs to grapple. He really, really needs to grapple because he doesn't have the KO power to stand here. So that's my read on the fight. The total is 1.5 rounds, and it's actually minus 160 for the over, plus 134 for the under. I like the over. I think it makes sense, but if you're a Rahiki better, you might say, hey, he might one-shot him in a round, you know?
He might, Derek, but I give a lot of credit to Harry Hardwick and the durability. And like you said, the way he's able to get out of a bad situation right there. I agree. This is volume versus the guy who can actually put the combos together and get you out. Harry Hardwick, he does need to wrestle. And fortunately for him, Rahiki has proven that he doesn't have the most solid ground game. If Rahiki stays complacent on the ground, this is a Harry Hardwick fight all day long. I do like the over in this one. I still think it's going to go. And I'll let the cat out of the bag, brother. I'm going Freaky Rahiki all day long. I still like the over, but I do think it's going to come later on in the fight if he's able to find a KO.
If Hardwick is able to get this fight to the ground, it's untested Rahiki's ground game. He's never lost before either. So plus 1,100 Harry Hardwick by submission. I don't want to be a crazy guy, but my man has 4 submission victories in his total right here. What are your thoughts on it?
Man, if your gut is telling you something to focus right here, that is the play to put it on. Rahiki's untested. His ground game is very, very basic, and no disrespect right there. It's just what we've seen, and especially against Harry Hardwick, who can get it done. That's a likely outcome for Hardwick better.
And not only that, but Harry Hardwick, who's been fighting European competition for years, you know what I mean? Listen, that's a circuit out there. So that's the pick. Rahiki, I think he's he reminds me of Peyton Talbot a little bit. I think he's too athletic. I think he gets the job done, but it's something to think about. Man, this is going to be a banger right here in the featherweight division, dude. Andre Touchy Fili versus Jose Delgado. Now, if you're Delgado, you got something to prove right here. But then again, if you're Andre Fili, you got something to prove too, right? Delgado's the one coming off of a loss, though. Not just a loss, but the loss, right? Like the big loss of your career. You lost the decision. You lost to Nathaniel Wood when you had the man hurt in the first round. And this was the film study that I needed to show, hey, you're sparking all these dudes. You're sparking them early. But when you hurt them and then they survive and keep going, it's like a part of us breaks on the inside. And I feel like I saw a little bit of that, not to be too over dramatic. Quick stat that you need to know about Andre Fili, AJ, and I just want your thoughts on this one. Fili has alternated wins and losses in the last 8 fights, and his last result was a win, meaning that he's probably due for a loss next, but that's only if you believe that stuff. What are your thoughts?
He's been a roller coaster fighter for a long time, Derick. I mean, like you said, 8 fights back to back, and just quick math. I mean, we're talking 2020 back when he was still going for that. And there's no contest in there, but either way, he is a very much up and down fighter. And where we've seen Andre Fili have his best success is when he's not being pressured up, right? When the power isn't there, he's able to put the combos together. He's able to move. He's able to evade. He has a slick head movement in there. And when he's able to work the long ranges, circle out, and keep the fight on the gas, man, Touchy-Feely looks great in there. But we have seen what Jose Delgado can do. He can put the pressure to you and really impose a storm as what's happening. And people just get overwhelmed. And that's what leads to a lot of those first round KOs. But like Derick said, you get past that first round, you weather that storm. Fili walks down Delgado, beats him up. Like, it's something that we could see happening like we did in the last one at Danny Wood.
Yeah, dude. And that's what worries me is that Andre Fili is a true veteran, dude. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has 3 UFC fights in Delgado versus Fili, who's got close to like 25. You know what I mean? So major difference in the big show, just in pure experience right here. But you need jabs and lateral movement if you're Andre Fili to be successful here, right? You got a dude who's a finisher who's going to be in your face trying to force boxing pocket exchanges. Now, I think wrestling can be a factor in here. I think Andre Fili could try to hold him up against the cage and do stuff like that. But even Delgado off the break, man, spinning attacks, he's dangerous everywhere. That's really just what I'm trying to say. I call it raw elite power. But this also leads me to the thing that's kind of a detriment, which happened in his last fight. Dude missed weight, right? And lost that decision to Nathaniel Wood. So don't get me wrong. It was a 1 pound weight miss, not anything crazy. But red flag, or is this just the part of the game, cost of doing business?
I'd say more cost of doing business on this one, Derick. I'm not ready to say, because there's some fighters out there who we say you need to go up a weight class. But if you look at the numbers on Delgado, he's right in line with every other fighter we're seeing in the featherweight division. So I think this is his weight. He just needs to lock it down, get a little more diligent.
Okay. And yeah, man, this is what it comes down to for me over and over again, right? It's just like a volume play here for Andre Fili. I don't think you're going to be knocking out Delgado, but time is of the essence here, meaning you need to survive. Where on the other hand, for Delgado, it's almost like time is his friend, where he can be patient, I believe, in this fight and not try to just come out swinging and overexert yourself. So by second round, you're gassed. But almost, this is a terrible example because the archetypes are not the same at all. But Topuria, to me, you've heard the game plan analysis of him where they say Topuria will actually let you get your reads by like landing, but kind of letting you land so that you think, oh, my reaction to that thing isn't there. So we'll go through a couple sequences. Boom, that hook. Okay, boom. I maybe brush it off on the shoulder, but it's catching, right? Boom, boom. Now I know that it's coming. Boom, boom, right? Like that counter slip off the top. I'm giving you a look so you think I'm complacent, but I've been watching it the whole time. I think for Delgado, if you can implement a little bit of a more patient style, then you're a minus freaking 350 favorite for a reason, dude. But the question is it a long drawn affair, or can he get Fili out? And that's where I'm curious for you.
I mean, he can get Fili out, Derick, but what I'm hoping for is a longer drawn out fight right here. Just because of what we've seen with Delgado and the gas tank. And what's nice about what you're talking, right, with the like playing a little possum. Oh yeah, you could touch me, I was there, and then I crack you one. This is the opponent to do that on. The Touchy-Feely is more so a volume striker instead of a one-touch KO power. So if you ever want to implement that style of fight, this is the opponent to do it against. And it gives you that extra confidence to say like, oh, hey, I can go into the deep, bloody waters out there and still get a win. I don't have to worry about what happened in my last fight and gassing out. As long as I have a good game plan, good attack plan, I can get this going. And then we're going to see if that's the case, Delgado could rise next levels.
Yeah, that's fair right there. All right, man. Look at that. The total is 2.5 plus 154 for the over, minus 185 for under that. So odds makers definitely think a finish is going to be happening here. And then you got to remember Fili's chin is a little bit of a question mark, man. Brito, Ige, Rodriguez, Yair, they all have tagged him clean. I just think Delgado hits harder than everybody in that group. You know what I mean? In a very weird way. I think he kind of has that death touch. So are you taking the under?
I'm taking the under, Derick. I'm hoping it's a second round finish personally for Delgado. I want to see him get past that first one and feel good.
Cat out the bag right here. Delgado is the play, but it has to be a pick. I'm not going to speak for you, bro, but I'm not betting you at over 3-1 odds right here against a crafty veteran like Fili. That's just like recipe for disaster when you're coming off of a loss too. But I think the odds of him knocking him out are just too high, or submitting him, bro, because he could submit you too. And you remember what I told you? I'll keep harping on it till the freaking day I die, dog. The way he exposed his neck to Costa and damn near guillotined himself, I'll never get over it, bro. I won't. But give me your thoughts, brother. Why is it a pick? Same for you?
I wasn't betting him at minus 350. I'm not taking him at the live minus 410. 4-1 favorite for an unproven against a vet. I like the fighter. I think he's going to win. I'm not taking that money.
Yeah, dog, not at all. Let's keep it. That's a bad taste in my mouth now. So yeah, hopefully Fili, make it competitive. But Delgado, that is your pick right there. Iwan Cutelaba, a staple of the light heavyweight division. You get Oumar Sy. AJ, Oumar Sy is a prospect, and he's one to be watched. He's one you really got to watch, right? He gets to that back mount. He's a dangerous, dangerous man. But he lost against Alonzo Menafield, and I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, bro. But Alonzo Menafield is not a bad loss to have. He's not a bad name to have in the losing resume. It just goes to show a big power puncher who can grapple a little bit when they're stuck in your face and you're a jab first technician. It just doesn't always work in your favor. If he wasn't a big favorite going into that fight, I think people would speak differently on it. But one thing that we do know is that Cutelaba, 13 knockouts and 15 first-round finishes, but 3 of his last fights have gone to decision. So there's been an evolution in the Hulk's game. Talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for the evolution as well, Derick. I think one of the notes I wrote, more calculated than the previous version of himself, is an even more dangerous Ion Cutelaba, right? Still throws the bombs in the pocket, looks for that heat, looks to cause chaos in the exchanges, but now he's able to make the reads first. He's able to see things first. He doesn't just go in there full red. He's actually a smart, intelligent fighter now, and he's able to put those raw skills he has to actual work. And this is a good one, man. This is a good test for Sy coming up, because so many people had left a bad taste in their mouth with the Menafield fight, that Sy really gets to show what he is and can he come back from something like that. I mean, they gave him the Brendan Hibaro fight after the Menafield one, but this is the real test for me.
I mean, yeah, I agree. This is going to be a test, but I think this is the UFC almost saying, like, let's get some good favor. Let's give you a guy that you can have a performance against. Let's not forget, man, Cutelaba, as much as we might say like staple, right? 8-10-1 in the UFC. Not even fighting at 500. Like, no disrespect, but it's like, come on, brother. You got European combat sambo champion. You got some like judo championship stuff. You're a good grappler, and you got knockout power. You can knock anybody out in the first round. But it's first round or die, in my opinion. It's been that way for a long time. There's nothing new, in my opinion, here. If you just take a look at the resume, man, it kind of speaks for itself. Good guys that you lost to, but Modestus Bukauskas, if you couldn't get the takedown, you're not going to win. And he didn't get the takedown, so he didn't win, right? Felipe Lins, remember that guy who's going to fight Francis Ngannou? Yeah, you got decisions by him too. Kennedy got knocked out. Johnny Walker submitted you. Ryan Spann submitted you. Ibo Aslan, Ivan Urslan, Tanner Bozer, Devin Clark. Those names, if you just kind of like rally them up, it's kind of the people who just never really proved themselves, right? Versus the guys who were proven. And I think Oumar Sy is, as much as we don't want to say it, if you look at his resume right here, I think it's kind of proven, right? I think he's a good enough prospect, bro. I think that was a slip up that he had. I think we can't write him off. And he's 6'4" with an 83-inch reach. Or 83-inch reach versus that 75-inch reach for Cutelaba. If he keeps this at range and there's no takedown, how does he lose?
I mean, the only way is overextending and Cutelaba just going Hulk mode, throwing something up. That's not what I see, Derick. If I'm looking to see what I expect him to do, piece you up from the outside. When you're worried about that, shoot the takedown, get it going. But he still can get it done with his hands. He doesn't need the takedown. It's just an easier path to victory.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that Cutelaba is going to literally run into a counter, trying to just blitz into him if you take that approach. Or I'm not going to say he'll be able to reverse him, but Oumar with that back mount is dangerous, bro. Even in the last fight, you saw it in the last fight. He gets that back mount on you, bro. He's going to choke you or he's going to knock you out. Which is why I think there's an interesting play at hand here. But first, this is going to be the true litmus test. First round or die for Cutelaba, but over 1.5 is minus 135. Plus 114 for the under. Sy being a more calculated fighter, I can completely understand why they're going with that logic here. But this is banking on Cutelaba officially being just a grappler at this point now.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And I think where a lot of that's coming from, Derick, is we've seen the progression or the evolution of Jan Cutelaba going in this, and they really do think he can fight those longer fights.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm not sold. I do like the over on this one, though, as well.
Yeah, fair. Like I said, Menefield, if he can put that pressure in your face and if he could beat you, I mean, Cutelaba is a similar archetype right here. 47% significant strike defense for Cutelaba. So Oumar is going to be landing at will, I imagine, if this stays on the outside. And again, remember that fight that he had against Bukauskas for Cutelaba, this is the thing that worries me the most, is it was really just volume. He wasn't adding much damage, and he still lost. And it's like, all right, bro, well, there's one thing you're really good at is knocking people out. So like maybe you should give it a shot. But C, I think it's just going to be the clear dub right here. I don't even want to speak too much on it. But Oumar Sy, that's the pick right here. Again, way too heavy of a favorite for my liking based on the Alonzo. Like I need to see you pass this test comfortably, and then we can dive in because he's minus 275. In what world do you bet that? Is that just not bettable at all?
It's not bettable. If I was, it'd be around a minus 180, minus 150, somewhere around there. I'd feel a little more comfortable. But to put a minus 265, 255 favorite against a veteran who in the favorite, we still seen him be unproven, right? The Menefield one, you do have to take that into account. Menefield's good. Cutelaba's good. We got to see how this guy does.
Yeah. My final thoughts on here is Oumar Sy. Decision or TKO, but you live bet Cutelaba if he can survive early. You live bet him. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm just saying it could be that fight. If he's in your face and he doesn't get knocked out or subbed, it could be there. Let's move on over to the co-main event, a rebooking here, AJ, and I'm glad that this fight is finally happening. Amanda Lemos, man, 38 years old. Similar to what we spoke about earlier, has alternated wins and losses in 6 straight fights, and she has not had back-to-back wins since 2022. Enter the savage, Gillian Robertson. Listen, this is problematic because Amanda Lemos, if she keeps this fight standing, this could be bad for Robertson. This would be like a really, really bad for Robertson. But if Amanda Lemos is the same one that we just saw against Tatiana Suarez, she's going to get taken down and she's either going to get beat up or she's going to get subbed. And I don't think it's like super complicated in regards to this matchup. What allure, I'm just curious, what allure does Amanda Lemos carry at this stage of her career where we've seen all of the good strikers who can grapple, they're all beating her pretty handedly. Like the only good grappler that she beat, and it's because she didn't really take a grappling approach, was Mackenzie Dern, which is crazy because a win here could set up for a rematch. I mean, who knows? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the allure for Amanda Lemos is purely visual, right? Like she is a very fun and exciting striker, and that's what the vast majority of the fans like to see. They want to see somebody standing, rooted, ready to throw down. That's Amanda Lemos, man. And you were talking about it earlier. If Amanda Lemos is the same fighter we saw in her last fight, it's going to be serious problems for her. But on the other end, if Gillian Robertson is the same striker we've seen in her early fights when she was younger in her career, Gillian Robertson, this is be a short one. Like, it's a very big danger. But we have seen the evolution from Gillian Robertson. So that's where I think the favorites come into. But as far as the lore, Derick, I mean, I do think a lot of the fans ignore the losses because the striking is so fun to watch.
There we go. All right. Don't get me wrong, bro. I mean, listen, I'm right there with you. I love to watch Amanda Lemos strike. Rooted, tall, Muay Thai stance, and that big left hand coming over the pipe. It's amazing to see, right? Only problem is that it's just like everybody knows that is the plan. That's what you're going to do. And it's effective. It can be effective. Don't get me wrong. But Gillian Robertson, you've already trained. You already had a camp. You had 2 camps for this fight. I think it's going to be, okay, this is the way that I equate it. For a really good striker to get the level of takedown defense and grappling acumen that you need to fight off a Gillian Robertson in 2 camps is not the same progression that a Gillian Robertson is to avoid the big punch and take them down, right? I think the grappler is at the advantage, but more importantly, you're in a 25-foot cage, right? So you're in the small one. You're in the apex cage. The Mark Zuckerberg cage, you know what I mean? So Robertson, she has a real shot right here. She has added, this is the thing, she's added strikes from back mount to her arsenal, which is the biggest thing, because you have to wonder. You're like, well, Tatiana Suarez didn't submit Amanda Lemos, so she must be good somehow, some way, right? But it's like, all right, if that's going to be the game plan, why are we so focused on just submitting? Why don't we just rain down shots on these people, right? So I think that's what we're going to see right here. I have a couple of technical notes that I want to talk about too, but I'm just curious what else you got on this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, for Gillian Robertson, it's position over submission. I agree with you, Derick. If you keep her down, beat her up, and take away the one advantage that Amanda Lemos has, this looks like a chalky game plan right here. But on the other end, Amanda Lemos is a veteran for a reason. She has what? Quick math, 31 fights, a vast majority of those in the UFC. Like, she is dangerous. She can still be a technician in there. And we've said it all the time. If you can land that one KO shot, Gillian Robertson does have a tendency to reach in when she's going for those takedowns. We'll see if holes can be exploited.
That's true. The line has got steamed on this one too. Robertson opened up around -250. She's currently at about -200, which I think is perfectly fine. 2-1 odds right there. I'd take it. You know what I mean? In this specific matchup. But what they're saying is the sharp money is moving towards Lemos. So again, it might come down to, does the striking of Robertson hold up enough to be able to get the takedown? And I just don't see Lemos having that good enough takedown defense to be able to stop it. So unless you have anything else on there, I'm curious to know about the southpaw angle that Lemos provides. Is that going to be a tough look, in your opinion, against Robertson?
No, I mean, Robertson, what's nice is that leg is going to be right in front of her. They're basically going to be touching toes when they're actually exchanging. It's an easy reach down and grab, so she doesn't have to have her hands out that far. This is a pretty nice setup for Gillian Robertson.
Yep. All right. Well, with that being said, this is a rebooking right here. This is a true striker versus grappler matchup. And again, an impressive win for Robertson can get her a title shot, but an impressive win for Lemos legitimately can get her a title shot. This is somehow, some way, a title eliminator, except Lemos does not deserve it. And Robertson is on a 4-fight win streak in the women's strawweight division. So something to think about there. Consensus. This is the bet. This is the bet of the card, if you will, right here. Robertson, you hammer it 2-1 odds and hope that they don't steam that thing up for her before fight night. You know what I mean? So go ahead and take that. All right, main event. AJ, listen, young blood versus the old established veteran. Josh Emmett gave up probably the easiest double leg takedown that I have seen in my life against Youssef Zalal in his last fight, but it was perfectly timed by Zalal, to be fair. The moment Emmett stepped up to try to plant his feet, he was already on his back. It was already too late. From there, it didn't really get any better. He got armbarred and the fight was over. So good news, you took 0 damage in your last fight, pretty much. I don't even think a punch landed. And you're at full capacity here. Only problem is they said, Youssef Zalal, all right, mobility, it's going to be hard to track him down. Kevin Vallejos, he's going to move and he's going to hit you hard. So it's like the worst of both worlds right here. Talk me through Josh Emmett, dog. I'm going to look up the current odds, but what I have here, plus 435. They basically said, let me hand you out on a platter. Get out of here, old man. The future is now. Talk us through it, brother.
Like, just like the meme, get out of here, old man. Yeah, no, this is a solidified gatekeeper versus the young, hungry prospect, the new shiny toy right here. The crazy thing is when I think of Josh Emmett, I don't think of an old man. I don't think of somebody who's out to be put to pasture. This dude is well-rounded. He can be out-specialized, so that is a flaw of his. But man, good movement, high fight IQ, still down to brawl. Josh Emmett has all the intangibles to be able to land those big punches and still make a name for himself, right? He can take all the shine from the young cat right now, but at a minus or a plus 400 favorite. Like, pretty steep odds on that one.
Minus 565 for Vallejos right now, dude. All right, so off the bat, do you bet this? No. Now there's some totals and some props that you could get behind for sure. 3.5 is the total. I had minus 115, minus 105. What's it at? Minus 120 and even money for under 3.5 right now. And just so that you guys know that I'm telling the truth, courtesy of Bet US right here. So, I mean, it's under play right here. I just think the question is going to be this. Can Josh Emmett, because he has one-shot stopping power, he will always have that. That's going to be the last thing to go. But does he have the movement to be able to cut off the cage against Vallejos and hit him with the big overhand right? Because it's like we know that's the shot. That's it. I mean, I don't really think he has much else that's going to be able to land on Vallejos. But then again, for Vallejos, the thing, I think he's way faster than Josh Emmett. But I think there's this weird thing about Vallejos in every fight, even when he wins by knockout, where I'm just like, why is it taking so long? Like, the approach you're taking just feels a little strange to me. And it feels like it could be more dominant, especially when he's getting priced like this. Am I reading into this too much? Do you have some thoughts?
No, I do actually, Derek. That was one of the things. So Vallejos, what I had written down, he makes his reads, but it seems like he takes a while to actually implement the traps that he's setting in the second round. Literally, he takes his whole first round off, just making Reed sitting there patient. Yeah, he'll throw some punches out there, but he's gathering information consistently and a little too long, in my opinion. And that's where Josh Emmett can really find those moments, because if you're taking any time off, the power of Josh Emmett is there. I don't expect him to be able to cut a corner and land something, but what I do expect is when Kevin Vallejos just goes A to B like we've seen him do consistently, Josh Emmett stands firm, takes whatever is coming, and then lands a big one in the chaos there. That's where Kevin Vallejos can be in trouble.
You hit it on the head right there, bro, because I'm like, if Emmett is anything, he's a durable dude. He's a durable dude. And if he gives you one back because you're too confident in your combination striking, yeah, man, he could flatline it, and we could be looking at the dog of the freaking of the month of the year. We could be looking at like one of the biggest dogs that you've seen, stopping the momentum of Vallejos. It's just who's confident enough to take the bet on that one big shot, because you have to land it. Otherwise, I don't see the path. He's no longer really a grappler. Don't get me wrong. He had some success, I believe, against Lerone Murphy, right? A little bit of wrestling. But that real wrestling, grappling acumen that he had at one point, he's really just a boxer kind of at this point. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Vallejos, he's a switch hitter. He can hit you from both sides. The angles that he cuts are pretty good. And more importantly, he stopped Giga with that spinning attack right here. And Giga has been, even though he fell off and had all the injuries, he was, am I wrong? He was considered one of the most gifted technical strikers the division has seen, with the Giga kick and the long kicks and the big long strikes. Like, am I tripping?
I'd argue he's one of, if not the most technical kicker in the sport. And that leads right into he is top of technical strikers in general, for sure.
Yeah, bro. So Emmett, a little more rudimentary, just hits a lot harder, whose power is going to be able to hit. Let's not forget though, right? Josh Emmett isn't a scrub, 10-6 in the UFC. Not a scrub, dude. He's not, not some under 500 dude. Everybody that he has fought is an absolute freaking wrecking ball of a machine right there. Let me go ahead and pull up just the last 5 of Josh Emmett, because this 1-4 in your last 5 business looks terrible. But let's see who it's against. Yusuf Zalal, Lerone Murphy. You beat Bryce Mitchell. You flatlined that man damn near into a medical coma. You feel me? Ilia Topuria and Yair Rodriguez. Realistically, can you be mad at those names?
No, not one bit.
Not literally to none of them. You cannot be mad at any single one of them because they're all at the top of their division. Giga Chikadze for Vallejos, Danny Silva. Decision. Okay, I will say this. I'm high on Danny Silva. I think he's good. But decisioning Danny Silva and not being able to get him out of there, I'm just saying. This is Josh Emmett that we're talking. We're not talking about Danny Silva. You couldn't get Danny Silva out there. Maybe we shouldn't. Okay, let's pull something up. Let's pull some numbers up. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about Kevin Vallejos. Go ahead and pull this up. Yeah, pull this up too, bro, because I don't know if it. Oh, no, actually, I got it. All right. Kevin Vallejos by decision, plus 220.
Ooh. I actually like that a lot, Derick. I give a lot of credit to the Josh Emmett durability, and then the way, well, we were talking about it before, the way that Kevin Vallejos starts his fights off, it does usually lead to that second round, or unless he finds one early, but that second round, third round, and this is going to 5. So I'm interested about that one, because we haven't seen Kevin Vallejos have the gas sink. I think he's going to. I think we know Josh Emmett is. That's an interesting one. What do you think?
I think they killed us on the double chance for knockout or decision, because that's easily the best play that you could do for Vallejos. They killed you, minus 325. But if you're like, man, I believe in the durability of Emmett, Ilia Topuria couldn't knock him out, plus 220, bro. I mean, the only problem with Vallejos is that when he closes fast, and these guys don't last. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of what your thoughts are. But I think if there's now, after this analysis, I'm very confident in one play and one play alone. It's Kevin Vallejos over, or it's fight to go over 3.5. I think I'm convinced, right? Let me see. Was I convinced before? Let me just confirm if I put over or under on there. I did put the over. I put the over in my original note. So I am convinced, though, that that's probably the best play. You are not betting Kevin Vallejos at minus 560. If you bet anybody or anything in your life at minus 560, you need to go seek help. So let's not do that. This is going to be your consensus pick. It will be Kevin Vallejos. And I'm going to now just add in there, is it consensus over 3.5 is the play?
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, easy enough. Well, folks, you got yourself a main card breakdown. That was your main event, UFC Vegas 114 in the Zuckerberg Apex. That's what they need to name it. I will always call it by that at this point from here on out. So with that being said, folks, we are far from done. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the best bets. We just gave you a banging bet right there, but we're going to give you a couple of more. AJ, you have a best bet. Both of them, the ones that you got and the one that I got, they're both going to be on the main card, but you got a good one, brother. Talk to the people. What you got?
I got a real good one, folks. We've covered it already. I'm going Marwan Freaky Rahiki by a double chance right here. KO or points, minus 180. You've seen it. We've been talking about on the show. There's a lot of odds on this card where there's just not a lot of value right here. This is the one I had to do a little bit of digging for you, folks. No, you get the minus 275 at the time of writing that 275 favorite, gone up a little more at a minus 180 price with his most likely outcomes. I mean, we talked about it. That's what we think Freaky Rahiki is going to be doing. I like this one a lot. And arguably he is the more talented fighter. And if he's going to get a finish in this next one, his price tag is only going up. So make sure you get him now, cash in, watch this fight. Thank me later. Derek, what do you think?
I think that's a good one right there, man. Like I said, the athleticism of Rahiki just I think it's gonna be overwhelming right here. He pops off the page. I'll just say that. Pops off the TV screen, if you will. So yeah, that's a good one right there. And folks, if you are a fan of the program, then this thing is gonna look familiar right here. Listen, this fight was booked. I used this as my best bet. It got canceled. Well, guess what? It's rebooked, and we throwing it right back at you. Gillian Robertson, you know we love some good double chance here. TKO or decision against Amanda Lemos at plus 160. She's a minus 200 favorite. We're getting knockout or decision at plus 160. She's added strikes from back mount to her arsenal. She's not solely reliant just on the submission victory, and Lemos has been hard to put away, so it's something to think about. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I got for you right there. It's simple. It's tried and true. I gave you the breakdown, so there's no need to cover it again. Those are your best bets. And with the time that we have, AJ, we're making perfect timing right here. We got a little bit of an opportunity for a quick prelim pour over for some of the fights that we didn't get an opportunity to cover. So let's go ahead and just kind of see what stands out to us right here. One thing that I did want to know, we never really addressed it right here, but one of the bouts that we covered, which was the Asplund versus Vitor Petrino, did get relegated down to the prelims, but we still wanted to cover it because that's what we did film study on. I'm curious on your thoughts right here, brother. Chris Curtis versus Mike the Beck oral buy. Listen, this right here, a complete stylistic discrepancy, if you will. It's just a good matchup of styles, but I don't know if Chris Curtis is going to pull another Rodolfo Vieira performance and stuff 20 takedowns and get a good win. What do you think?
Ooh, brother, now that you said that, if I know anything about Chris Curtis, he's watching and he's going to take that as a personal attack. He's going to be stopping 20 takedowns. He knows who he's fighting. Actually, Bakorobai, he's going to be trying to get this fight to the ground. If Chris Curtis, I will say, I am worried about where he has been as a fighter as of late. Like, I know he won his last one against Max Griffin, but we have seen him struggle against the Roman Kopolovs, the Brandon Allens, even the Calvin Gaslams. Like, Mekto Bakorobai is built from the same cloth, so it does give me a lot of pause for this fight for Chris Curtis for sure.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one. I don't have a pick on this one, but this is definitely one you want to tune into. Bruno Silva versus Charles Johnson, man. This got moved up to the main card, but this should be a power puncher in Silva. Johnson's got to try to just stay away from the big shot, drown him with some volume, throw a little bit of grappling his way, try not to get submitted, a little bit of wrestling. Listen, man, Johnson, he's that guy that if he puts you down, somehow, some way, you're going to rebound from your career in a fantastic way. Does Bruno Silva get to benefit from this, or is it going to go the other way? What do you think?
The Midas touch of Charles Energy Johnson is real, brother. I mean, if you're Bruno Silva, you don't want to win. You don't want to lose a fight. But if you do lose this fight, you want to get knocked out. So that way your next one is for gold. This is no, I'm just joking. This is a good fight for Bruno Silva. In the height discrepancy, the speed, it's going to be a very tactile matchup that these boys are going at it, man.
Yeah. Johnson, just 15 minutes, bro. You don't got a real grappler in front of you. I don't think Silva's going to be too grappling heavy, but he might based on just previous, film study. But 15 minutes, man. You can't start slow. That's been the argument, is like, hey, he's not getting there. So by round 3, he's taking over, but it's too late. A couple other good names. We don't need to cover it, but Balaji Oki versus Souza. That's going to be a good one. Elijah Smith is the name to watch for. Su Young Yu. That dude is good right there. The last part right here is going to be Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. That's just going to be a good fight right there. You know what I mean? Even though that they're like Sam Hughes, listen, journey woman, if you will, in this strawweight division, but she's always game for a decent fight. Pieta, she's one that you got to watch for, man. I'm really, really high on her. I think she is super duper good, and she needs a big, dominant, impressive victory in order to shine on this one. What are your thoughts?
Now, this almost made my sleeper, Derick. The only reason it doesn't, because the Sam Page is for real, and I didn't want her to take away Pieta's shine. Yeah. But I do think Pieta has the better of the matchup on this one. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how it actually gets done.
Yeah. And then, sorry, last one right here. We got to talk about it just because, man. This is Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. I'm not going to lie. I thought Eric Anders had already kind of committed to just being done at this point. I think he's like, I got like 2 more fights, 3 more, and then I'm good. But here he is. So shout out, your boy. This is a middleweight fight, which I'm actually surprised. I thought Eric Anders like, all right, I'm just going to stick to light heavyweight and do my thing. It's going to be a hard fight for both of these dudes, man. Who do you think gets the better?
I'm rocking Brad Tavares, and it hurts to say because I feel like every time I bet on Brad Tavares, it's just completely underperforms.
Sure.
But you can't bet on somebody who has 10 toes out the door. Like he is on the precipice of leaving Eric Anders. I agree with you, Derick. I thought he was gone. So there's a reason this one is relegated to the prelims. I think everybody thought both of these fighters were done for.
That's fair. All right. Well, nothing else needs to be said there, folks. You got yourself a fight card. You got yourself, depending on where you're at, maybe some warm weather, maybe not, but you got one thing that you could bank on, and that's some entertainment on Saturday night. So go ahead to your local sports book, cash some bets, thank us later, drop some comments, talk to the boys, tell them what you thought. AJ, go ahead and get us out of here, brother.
Derick said there's one thing you can count on is fights this weekend, but you can also count on the boys at the Bloody Water Podcast, the Money Making Mafia, coming to you every single week that we have, making you money all the time, regardless. Go check our numbers. They're better than everybody else out there. All we need you to do is go share it with your friends, share it with your loved ones, because if you're making money, they're making money, we're making money. It's a great life all around. So make sure you tell your friends your favorite fighter's favorite fight show for a reason.
That's it, folks. Until next time. Peace.